I'm your host, Rachel L. Gary, and I am glad to see all my CEOs in the building. So today we're going to actually talk about what is a CEO and how you as a CEO can run and get your life together. So CEO, it is for you having clarity of your actions, empowerment of your choices, and ownership of your directions. And as a CEO, you make all the choices in your life. And that's what we're talking about here today, being a CEO of your life. And how does all that tie into habits? So today I decided to dive in and we're going to unpack what being a CEO and how, as the CEO, you are responsible for your habits. So let's unpack it. Setting goals. When you're setting goals all based upon something in your life that you want to have better, you want to go further, or you want to do more of. And the only way to do that is what? Build up you. Because as the CEO, and I want to make sure that I'm talking to only CEOs. And if you don't consider yourself a CEO, there lies a building of a habit of being more self-aware and having higher self-esteem. Because anytime that we believe that something outside of you controls you, that is when we're giving over our power. And I don't want anybody to have power over me. So how do we stop someone from having power over us or something from having power over us? By being the person who has clarity in our actions, who's empowered by our choices, and who has ownership of our direction. And that means no one else can take over our lives. No one else can take over our time. And no one else is responsible for our growth or development. So that is why we're going to dive into being that CEO. And back to when you make a goal. So when you are actively looking to do better in your life, you are trying to make choices that are going to better your life. So let's go to if you want a new house. You want to have more money. You want to grow into a new role, or you want to start your own business. Now, I'm going to give you a pointer. As the CEO, you have to assess, do you have all the skills that are necessary to reach your goal? And that sometimes is where we lose sight of how we have not reached our goals as of yet, because we don't have all the tools to successfully reach that goal. So I want success for you guys, and I know you want success for yourselves. So it goes to when I was only making $7 an hour, and I was trying to figure out how my kids were going to eat, how I was going to have a roof over their heads, clothes on their back. I know you guys have heard a story where your parents or you have been trying to figure out how to make the ends meet. And what I realized that fateful day, when I was sitting on my sister-in-law's couch, because I didn't have a place for my two kids to live, I was realizing that I hadn't built the habit. I hadn't learned enough. And as a CEO of my life, I was going to make a change. And I didn't have all of the pieces. And that is where I made that CEO decision that I needed to learn more, I needed to grow, and I needed to develop myself so I could be, one more time, be that person that was going to be able to give more to my children. And that's what we were talking about in the past weeks, where we were talking about being consistent, committed, and being confident. That all came from me understanding that I didn't have what it took that day to do what I needed to do for the future. And one more time, as that CEO, I had to make a plan. And that goes from me writing my goal down, me getting a plan of action, and me actually executing that plan. Because that's what it's about, guys. And I'm going to tell you what the plan, when you don't make a plan and you just have a goal, two things happen. You fail or you're discouraged, which usually comes from your failure. And what I realized that I needed to be able to learn that information. So there was two things I was going to do. I was either going to pay for the information, or I was going to pay with my money or pay with my time. Either way, I was going to have to pay to move forward. And I did it two ways, guys. I paid with my money and I paid with my time. And what I mean by pay with my money is that I went out and I searched for someone who had done what I was trying to do. And a lot of times we want mentorship, we want coaching, and we just want someone to give us the answers. That doesn't make you resilient. It doesn't make you in charge of your life. It means that you are, once again, giving over power to someone else to puppeteer your life. So I wanted to learn. So that's why I paid. I want to make sure everyone understands. I didn't pay because I wanted a coach and I wanted someone to give me the answers. I paid for the speed to give me the knowledge to allow me to make informed decisions in my CEO life. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I don't say that because I'm a coach. I say it because if you're looking for speed. Now there is, as I said, the second thing that you can pay with is your time. It's okay to pay with your time. But when you're paying with your time, you have to make sure that you understand what you need to know, where to get that information, and how to consume it. So that's where I had a coach as well as I paid with my time, because I invested a lot of time in the books, the seminars, the webinars, the networking events. And I went from the $7 an hour I was making to making $90 an hour and being promoted 3 times within one company. And I don't say any of this to brag. I am humble. I was blessed. I was blessed with action. I was blessed with determination. I was blessed with knowing that there has to be a goal, actionable steps, just as when you're setting your goals. I am not special in this way. I just took action. As in, you can do the exact same thing. When you write your goals down, and let's say you have a goal of you want to make $1 million. If you're somebody who right now who makes $60,000 to $70,000, $1 million is an attainable goal, but there's a gap between your $70,000 worth of knowledge and the $1 million information that you need to get there. So how do you get the gap? So that's what we're talking about. How do you get the gap? Do you determine if you're going to pay someone to help you, or are you going to read up on the information needed to get the gap? And how do you know what information that you need to be able to get to the $1 million? I think that it's attainable in all of us. And I'm going to tell you, I went from that $7 to $90, and I went from that couch to having multi-million dollars in assets. So I'm going to tell you that it's possible. Everything you want in life is possible as long as you keep the CEO mentality, where you don't give power to anyone. You stay clear. You stay empowered. and you own your success. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. So when you're thinking that you can't do it, that's a building of self. You have to build the self-esteem. You have to get out of your own way and dispel the fear and know that when things happen, because life, as my son be saying, life be lifing. And when life is lifing, that doesn't mean you give up. That just means you find a different route. You tweak the process because you can't get to where you want to go if you allow all of the distractions and stumble blocks in the way stop you from getting there. And that's what I have these conversations about, just to take some moments and some time to talk to you guys about a couple of steps in which I took and a couple of things that I've done. And so when I talked about having a coach and talked about the seminars, the webinars, the readings, those were steps that I took to go from where I was to where I wanted to go. And currently, am I where I want to be? Because over time, your goals will evolve. Because as you learn more, you'll understand that there is more in you. That's right. The goal that you set yesterday won't be the goal that you'll want 6 months from now. Because as you get the speed of a coach, or as you read more books, go to more webinars, you're going to stretch your mind and you're going to see more and do more and know that the goal that you had was minute to the goals that you can have. Because all of the greatness is in you, is in there. So we got to pull that greatness out by being conscious of that we own our time. We own our lives. So that was the habit of the day, about being the CEO of your life. And until next week, when we meet again, and next week we're gonna dive into some of the things about the mindset of the CEO. Because I'm not about overwhelm. I'm about giving information that is actionable, that will allow you to be successful. So I want to recap what I just talked about. Because the story wasn't about me. The story is about us. And how we can do anything that we set our minds to. So, recap. You set a goal. And when you are looking to reach the goal, you need to find steps. You need to find either a coach or the information that is necessary to take you to the next level. That's whether you're buying a house, a car, getting a new job, or just starting a new life. Because we all have the greatness in us to make it happen. So until next week, where I'll be talking to my CEOs, I want you guys to be up, out, and moving to the greatness we all know lies within who? You. Enjoy the rest of your week.